Live. We're live now. What's up, guys? This is Keith Kalfas with the Untrapped Podcast with Patrick Clark from Sales Boost. He has a soft washing, pressure washing, roof cleaning, concrete cleaning company in, I think, North Carolina. You're in a bunch of different states and locations. You've built a multi-million-dollar empire that's automated, systematized. You're also a business coach, and you have your own live events that sell out called Sales Boost, where you teach people how to increase the sales and marketing, make more money in their service business. And you're very, very humble. And I had the honor at one of the Conquer events. I sat at your table. I'm like, who's this Patrick Clark guy? I never met him in my life. And I just, hung out. Then I found myself taking notes and learned a bunch of amazing stuff from you. You're so awesome. What's up, Patrick Clark?
What is up, Keith? Hey, appreciate you having me on, man. This is awesome.
So let's jump right into it. Real quick, I do want to say if you're listening to this on the Untrapped Podcast on Apple or Spotify, awesome, or the Untrapped Podcast YouTube channel on YouTube. This is Patrick Clark. Let's jump right into it and talk about how to boost the sales in your business and the entire mindset behind all this, bro. What's up?
What is up, man? Yeah, dude, I'm stoked. So, yeah, you're right on. Our corporate location, though, is in Greenville, South Carolina. We do have a location in North Carolina. We have 9 locations in 8 different states. So we're in 8 different states right now, which is super amazing. We're going to be adding 5 more locations on this year. So a lot going on. As you know, we also have Gutter Butter for my kids. So it's Gutter Butter's the oxidation removal cleaner, if you will, that gets the oxidation off of gutters. So they're actually signing on new vendors as we speak.
So you're the founder of Gutter Butter.
Yes.
If all you guys, most people that watch my stuff are landscapers, but it's also a lot of window cleaners and some soft wash, power wash guys. It's the pre-spray soap that they spray on the houses and the siding and everything called Gutter Butter. That basically it's, what is it, got bleach in it or what is it?
So Gutter Butter is just a degreaser. It's only for the oxidation. So you get oxidation now on vinyl siding where it gets chalky. So Gutter Butter is just for that. It is not the surfactant though for soft washing or for windows. It's basically a dedicated oxidation remover for the tiger stripes on the white gutters.
So there, right there, the first thing I think of is your head is going efficiency. How can I be more efficient?
Yes.
So what is it that you do, man? You've built your service business and then now you're contributing and giving and helping tons of others. What is it that you do?
Yeah. So with Sales Boost, so we basically, when we launched our first licensee, if you will, up in New York, we started Sales Boost where they would come down to corporate and we would teach them new things like innovative sales, like meeting with customers, scheduling, dispatching, anything to do basically with, service-based company in any industry, really. We just happen to do it in exterior cleaning, but we teach the sales, the processes, the 19 points to a sale. Like when you get to a house, what do you do, right? Like getting everything out of your head, but in a system that they can execute on and anybody can do it. Like my 15-year-old son can go run a quote, right? Whether it's, horticulture, if it's a tree care company, we have our steps to run the quote. And so they would come and it started growing, right? I opened it up to the public about 2 years later. And so we had like 30 people come to our first one. And so that was in 2014. So we've been doing it now for 6 years and it's been growing every year. We had 130 people, I think.
1 second. I literally just got done with Monday quotes and rushed here into the studio live with you. I literally just got off a quote. I sold a job for $2,850 landscape, and I did not have 19 points that I hit. I understand how to create a rapport with the customer, establish a trust, find out exactly what they want and serve their needs. But a lot of this is verbal and linguistic, and it's something that's unique and proprietary to me and what I practice. But you've been able to pull this out of yourself and systematize it so you can give it to somebody else who does sales. Like, what do you mean 19 steps?
Yeah, so we have 19 steps written out. We have a whole binder full of things, which is like right here. We have our buyer's guide. So we have a binder that we give you at Sales Boost that has everything in there. I'm not going to show you every little sneak peek, but it's a whole binder. So with our 19 points to a sale, you have to know 5 things 5 things before you even get a 1 foot on the property that you're going to build trust with. 5 things before he's like, I'm going to write this down. So yeah, there's 5 things that you need to look at, right? Whether it's the sports car in the driveway, if it's the, rivalry team, if you will, sports team, if it's, fishing, if it's golfing, how are you going to associate right off the bat 5 things that you can think of that you can relate with the customer, right? So that's number 1. Number 2 is, where do you park your vehicle? Now, I'm like basics, right? Like 19 points is like, where do you park your vehicle? Do you pull it in the driveway? Do you park on the road? These are things that I want you guys to ask yourselves. So I've been doing sales for over 17 years now, and I ask the customer why they bought from me, right? Why they buy from us today. And I want to better my sales every time I do a quote. And I tell myself when I'm done, did I serve the customer at a high level, right? Did their customer roadmap go as to plan? Because, when you're doing sales,
you said customer roadmap.
Yes.
That's an entire, like, a reframe. All right, keep going.
Yeah. So we have that all drawn out, right? And so we're looking at, are we serving the client at a high level, right? We need to make sure that they're having their journey and their happiness level is very high, right? So we're looking at their happiness level on our roadmap. And so there's a lot that goes into it. So I won't get into all the details, but when I started asking the customers why they bought from me, what did I do right? What did I do wrong? Right? They give you buying signals all the time. So
buying signals,
correct. So they will give you buying signals all the time, but are you picking up on those? And I'll be honest, a lot of, business owners that are doing sales, you're not. You're thinking about, okay, how am I going to get the job done? How am I going to deposit the check? I got to do my QuickBooks. And you're not paying attention, right? You're actually looking at the next word you're going to say and not listening to the customer. So think about that. You're thinking about what you need to say right, and you're not listening to the customer. And so with the steps, it guides you through this process, right, with the homeowner to make sure that you're dotting your I's and crossing your T's. And so, again, back to the 5 things. So you got 5 things that you're going to relate with them, okay? Then we get to the front door, and you have to think, do we knock or do we ring the doorbell? Well, think about it. Friends knock, strangers ring the doorbell, so we always knock. Then, once you get the homeowner there, you have a company portfolio. And again, you need to be sending out your buyer's guide. So here's our buyer's guide that we send out before our reps even show up on the job site, right, for the quote. They send the Ask the Seal badge. They already know how many kids I have, what I like to do on the weekends. Like, we send that out prior to a quote. So then
when you said Ask the Seal, some people are like, what? Can you just say what that is so people who don't know?
So they actually changed the name. It's called The Seal now. So it used to be Ask the Seal, but The Seal is a 7-year background check. You get an ID badge. They run the background checks on all your staff, and it's a 7-year background check. It's a third-party company that vets everybody in your company to make sure that there's no criminals, sex offenders, and so on. And so when they go and they show up, they're already getting that background. The customer is on your staff that's coming to their property. So you're already vetted by a third
party. And then does your staff have like a little ID badge? I know they send it in the email too. It'll say approved by the Seal. It'll show a picture like John is showing up today. He'll be working on your property. And then.
Yes. And then they have their badge. You know what I mean? If they ask for it, they always got them on, pinned on. So they know who's coming to the door. And they're like, John, come on in. Would you like some sweet tea? We're in the South. So they're going to be giving us some sweet tea. But that's how we get into the house, right? Then we have our company portfolio. Our company portfolio is what we call our anchor to get to the kitchen table. So we give that to them. And I say, look, we're going to walk around the property real quick. Show us what you're looking at getting done. And so we want them to tell us. A lot of times, as you know, window cleaners, we're like, would you like to get your gutters done too? Would you like this? You're trying to cross sell. But you're shooting yourself in the foot. Never ask, because the first thing they're going to say is, Keith, they're going to be like, no, I don't want that done right now. I just want my windows. and you don't want to offend them, right? Offend them by quoting other things. So you already shot yourself in the foot if you're like, Keith, I saw that you got your gutters are bad, man. Is it okay if I give you a quote on those? You're like, nah, my wife just wants to get the windows done right now. So now you can't quote it. Do it anyway, right? So don't ask, just do. And that comes from Top Gun. Don't think, just do. That's the system. So what we do is we go around the property. We say, so, are you looking at getting this done today? Oh, no. I'm not ready to get this done today. Okay, well, how soon were you looking at getting it done? And they're like, well, I want to get 3 quotes. Well, we always give everybody 3 quotes. We always give them 3 quotes. A, B, and C packages. Which one would you like to go with now, right? That's later on, though. I'm getting ahead of myself. And so we walk around the property. We kind of, go over, their house is changing color on them. It's turning green, whatever it may be. And you talk about them. Usually I don't even talk about the cleaning as much. I'm talking about the garden. I'm talking about, the cars, the golf course that they live on, the neighborhood, their beautiful estate, right? Whatever that may be. And so we're just building rapport. And then I say, oh, by the way, I noticed you worked at BMW. I was like, I have a list of 5 BMW employees, if you will, team members that we've done work for the last couple months. Would you like to, have that list so you can call them and see what a great job we did? Yeah, they do. Yeah, they did. So we have BMW, we have Michelin, and we have sheets, if you will, of people that we call it the 101 reference list, and we have references. So by the time, we're all done with our thing, we're closing the deal. But all right, so let's not get ahead of ourselves. So now we're walking around the home. We get back to
You're giving me a panic attack, bro. Just keep going.
All right. So we get back to the door. I'm like, Keith, I really appreciate you walking around the house with me. Which door would you like me to come in? I'm going to grab my measurements and everything and get you the packages. Which door would you like me to come through? The front or the back door?
Front door.
Front door? Perfect. All right, great. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go run back to the car. I'm going to grab my measuring wheel. I'm going to take some measurements and everything. And then I'm going to get you your quote. Does that sound good? It's probably 15 minutes on a bad day.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Well, here's my portfolio, Keith. Go ahead and look through that. Take your time. And like I said, it'll be 15 minutes on a bad day. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Bam. So what did I just do? You don't even know what I just did.
No, what did you do?
I just told you I'm coming inside your home through the front door.
Okay.
So now I'm coming to the kitchen table to close the deal.
Oh, you're coming right down to the kitchen table to close the deal and get a signature, a deposit, or pay, whatever, right there.
Right then and there. Yes. So I just left that little nugget in your head that I asked you what door am I coming through, right? So that's in your head now. You said front door. Great. So now I'm going to go back out. I'm going to go around, take my measurements, take my pictures, notate, and I'm doing a free inspection. And I think this is key. Free inspection. Right? So I'm looking at the downspouts. I'm making sure the drains are connected. If they're not, I'll connect them real quick. I'm taking measurements. I'm looking at the shingles, right? Is there a nail pop? Whatever it may be. We're going to do a free inspection for the homeowner. We're adding value. How can you add value? You want to stack the value. All right. So we're going to do that. Free inspection. And then we get all the measurements and I go back to the car. And and the reason I do this is never want to do measurements. You never want to do math in front of the customer because you're going to be shaking. You're going to be scared. You're going to be like, oh my goodness, it's a 9. You know what I mean? And so I've trained a lot of territory managers before and they get scared. So we go back to the car and we take our measurements. We have an actual sheet that is our pre-inspection sheet. That's where we make our doodles and all that stuff. Pre-inspection sheet. Now you can actually attach this to your CRM and have it built into your CRM if you want. We do it on paper, but I like it because we doodle, we do all the math and everything. And it tells us, does the gutters have covers? Yes or no? Does the house have oxidation? Yes or no? Are the seals broken on the windows? Yes or no? It reminds them to do all the things because there's so much.
Some people watching out there, I just need to shut my business down for 3 months and get all this shit figured out. Because the average guy who's stage 1, stage 2, chucking a trucker, got a couple employees. He's like, I got to go. I got the guys back at the job site, or I got 8 more quotes lined up. I don't have time for all of this.
Yes.
How do you transition into doing a little bit more of this Because if I let you, I would keep. Let's fill up a whole notebook. Fuck it, let's go.
Let's go, right? And this is why I do Sales Boost on site too. So I actually go out to businesses. I did 14 locations last year, and I go out and I put all these systems in place, and I actually sell for you on day 2. So we'll go out in the field and we'll sell for you, and I'll do all the processes and show you and teach you. That's more done for you, where Sales Boost is, done with you, if you will. All right, so let's keep rolling. So, we're crunching all the numbers in the vehicle. So we have our pre-inspection sheet, and then boom, now we put it in our CRM. We're going to go ahead and put all the numbers in our CRM with our 3 packages. You guys can use Responsibid if you want. You could do it on paper, however you want. Little shout out to Responsibid. But Responsibid has a great CRM where you can build out 3 packages and you can print it out right there in the car.
Oh, I didn't even know that. I have Responsibid and I use it. How long have they had this feature?
It's probably 6 months, maybe.
Okay, if you guys want to try out Responsibid, go to keithkalfas.com/resources. Scroll down, you'll see Responsibid, and then try it out.
Bam.
And then Patrick Clark Sales Boost. People can find you on Facebook. Where else?
Yeah, Instagram. Go to patclark.com. Check us out there with all of my resources as well on patclark.com.
Okay. All right. Now keep going. This is
all
good.
Right. So with Responsibid, right, you put together. Now there is a science, and we teach you. We call it. Catch a tiger by the toe. If he hollers, let him go. Right. So there's a science to making your packages, and it's it always used to be good, better, best. Right. And we teach you the opposite. We break the customer's brain. We call it bilimbic selling. It's the back of your brain. And we teach you that in Sales Boost. So I'm not going to go into that. That's a lot. There's a lot of stuff in there. But we teach you how to write the packages. And there's a science behind it where it's good, better, best. But we go best, better, good. And it's a whole science, but it best, better, good. And so it usually goes, $1,200, $1,800, $2,400. And then we have a retail total. So we call them, it's like punch them and you hug them, hug them, hug them. And so, again, we teach this class. I know you're going to be like, what the heck is he talking about? What is this catch a tiger by its tail? But there's a science to the packages. You can write packages, but if you're closing, we have A, B, and C. My territory manager started closing D packages. They're like, no, I don't want that. Well, if they don't want it, you're not listening to the customer, number one. And so you're going to write a lot of D packages. So we track everything through Flock, and it's FLOCK. And in Flock, I can go in here and I have all our locations, but I'm going to go to the Precision Pro Wash branch, and we'll go into our Sales Boost channel. And you can see, like in Flock, these are all our channels. So we're going to go into the Sales Boost channel real quick. And in the Sales Boost channel, you can actually see all the closed deals. So we have can you see that okay or no?
Yeah, I can see.
Right?
Yeah, there you go. Just closed. 771, $399. Yep. All right, sweet.
20 grand. Over 20 grand last week in sales.
Nice.
So the cool thing is with Flock, everybody's pumping them up. They're giving them pounds, you know what I mean? All that stuff in there. But again, this is down to a science with the packages because you have to write them the correct way. So A is what the customer asked for, but with no less than our $450 minimum. So if you're doing just windows, you know what I mean? There's $450 minimum. You're like, crap, dude, I can't get that, right? Like that's in your head. I can't get that. You don't know what you can get. I go to markets.
Wait, just window cleaning is $450 minimum. Do you go inside of the house to clean the windows?
I don't. No, we don't.
Okay, because we discontinued interior window cleaning except for just our favorite customers that grandfathered in as the only ones. And then, so we have a new $250 minimum for any exterior only and a $500 minimum to go inside of anybody's house to do inside window cleaning. It's because we also have landscaping and all this other stuff. If we were just window cleaning alone, I wouldn't be able to do anything like that. So what are your core list of services? And when you sell these customers, like what is your core thing? Or are you trying to sell packages to every customer? How does it work if they're like, well, can you come back in a couple months and just do the gutters? How do you calculate all?
Great question. So we sell packages to every customer, right? And so we have a minimum, but once they're a customer, there is no minimum. So we do maintenance contracts, and we'll come back out for those gutters as well, right? So if they're $320 for doing the gutters, we're going to come back out in a month or so to do them. So once they're a customer, there's no minimum, and we call it piggybacking. So our guys have to get $2,000 done in a day. So they do their $2,000, and then they tack on the gutters, or they tack on the back patio or the pool deck, and we call it piggybacking. So the guys have to get their $2,000 for the day, and then they can do whatever else. And they can upsell too, right? That we want them to upsell. And so we'll do the 3 different packages. So A is what the customer asked for. B is what I think as a professional. This is like,
Wait, you got your sales guys selling $2,000 per day, per crew, per truck?
Yeah. Sometimes more.
What, I mean, that to me, it sounds like historically from all the different service companies that I've talked to that are doing maintenance, cleaning, pressure washing, soft washing, window cleaning, stuff like that. That seems like really, really good to be able to do something like that in a, what is it, an 8-hour day or something?
Yeah, 8-hour day. Yeah. Now, sometimes we work a little bit more, right?
You guys must be doing roof cleaning too?
Yeah, we do roofs. Yeah, so my list is roof cleaning, everything exterior. So roof, gutters in and out, windows, driveway, decks, patios.
What's your average ticket per job?
1,400.
Isn't it because you guys have this sales process and you're selling packages?
Yep. For sure. Yeah, so we're and we can get this higher. I've run the numbers and stuff, and we can get it higher. So that is the, I hate to say it, but we're thinking small. Our industry is thinking a little bit small. We can get more. We are breaking the barriers. We're pushing the limits. I give my new sales guy, I'll go up 10% every week, and we'll go up 30% on our prices until we get balk back. You don't know what the cap is in your area. We're just going off of, oh, well, I can only get 15 cents a square foot, or, I can only get $8 a window, whatever it may be, right? You guys need to check your markets and see what you can get. I want to do less work for more money, because guess what? My customer roadmap, the happiness level goes up every time. And you're going to get a loyal customer that's with you over and over and over again, because there's maintenance contracts.
Man, you got my brain spinning right now.
Yeah. You should see some of the average tickets that the guys that come out of Sales Boost. It's pretty good. Like, they're having the best weeks they've ever had.
But you're showing these guys in your program, you're showing them proof and stats and real numbers and building their belief. They walk out with belief.
Correct. I brought one of our customers to Sales Boost that we do over $500,000 with a year, and it blew their minds. It was amazing.
Bro.
Yeah, it was good. But again, so we go back to the principles, right? Like, you want a bundle, you want a package. Don't just go out there for one service. If they're a customer, then you can go out for one service, right? But you're piggybacking it at the end of the day. You're like, Mrs. Smith, I just want to let you know we have 2 jobs in front of you. We're going to piggyback the smaller jobs so we can get you in. How's Thursday sound for you? Right? And they're like, perfect. They're already a customer. And you get the big tickets done earlier. So we usually do our, $1,400 ticket in the morning. Then we do another $1,000 in the afternoon, and then we piggyback. Yep. And we're always there, 8:00.
So the way you're doing this much per truck and all that is you must be, well, you got the sales all dialed in. Tell me about your process and workflow. Like, how does your production, like, are the trucks exactly the same? You got the chemicals, the reels, everything is like systematized. As soon as they pull up, they're jumping out working, or what are they doing? How does this?
Yep. Hey, remember the 19 points to a sale? We got our 19 steps to a clean house. So with that being said, all our trucks, I say you have to build it like McDonald's, but run it like Chick-fil-A. All our trucks are color coded, they're numbered, and they are the exact, I wouldn't say they're the exact same, but they're really close. And all the backs of our truck, we developed a system in the back of the truck that everything has a spot. They have a toolbox. Everything's labeled in the toolbox. Every Friday is inspection day. So we take everything out, we inspect everything, we make sure everything's there. If it's missing, we'll pull it out of inventory and then we charge the technician for it. If it's negligence, if it's not, then, we replace it because things wear and we understand that. And so, yes, everything's a system. We're a cleaning company. The trucks have to be cleaned.
It's crazy. As you speak this and I'm writing, I feel my arm where I'm writing feels a little weak. I feel a little nervous because as I'm writing it, I feel the accountability flowing up through me. And I feel like, because so if you're setting the example for your business, you got to be that. You got to cross every T and dot every I and do it yourself every single time. You can't let yourself off the hook. So this comes back to being able to lead yourself. Tell me a little bit about that journey to be that structured and have that level of self-discipline. Where do you get it from?
So the crazy thing is I was never structured. I grew up in a trailer park. I had, I could do whatever I want. I got in trouble a lot. So when I went to college, they had demerit system, right? So like if your hair touched your ear, you got a demerit. If your pants had a squiggly thing and touched the ground, you got a demerit. So it's a little bit more structured. I almost got kicked out of college, but it was still good, right? But I realized as a business owner, we don't do everything 100% because we can't. It's 20% in production. It's 20% in sales. It's 20% in marketing. It's 20%. And you can only do that. So I had to hire people. I had to hire people that were better than me, that would hold the team accountable better than me. Because as an owner, you're going to go out there and you'll be like, I don't need to do the checklist. I already know all this stuff. Right? I already know it. And you're not going to follow the system. And then you're going to train the next guy to not follow the system. So you have to hire that person that is better than you, right? That can lead your team. Or you say, I have to do the 19 points to a clean house, or I got to do the inspection on the truck. You have to do it. So I literally had to give myself a job description. And I do this when I go out to people's offices. I literally give them a job description. I said, all right, here's 3 job descriptions because that's what you're doing right now. And you have to do them, right? Because we'll get out there and say, well, I don't need to set up the cones, or I don't need to do that, right? No, you have to do it. You have to lead by example. And that's really, really important. It's hard, but you have to do it. And that's where the checks and balances kind of came in place, right? Is we have to do it this way. And I had to teach my team how I wanted it done. Now, there is some variance there because everybody does it a little bit different. And I teach that like in my scripts and stuff. Make it your own, right? Make it your own. And if you find a better way, I want to know the better way so we can implement it for everybody, right? And so I learned from customers, I learned from past teammates and current teammates, right? How they're bettering their job, making it easier. And it just got better and better and better. Again, I've been doing this for 17 years. This didn't happen overnight. Like the systems and stuff, they worked and then they sucked. And then we made new ones, right? And they just kept getting better and better. And as we failed, we learn from our mistakes,
So you do it the right way when you're having a great day. You do it the right way when you're having a crappy day. When you got no sleep and you crawled out the wrong side of the bed and you're just dragging, you do it the right way, the systematized.
Follow the system. Yep. That's right. And it says like we wrapped the doors to our office. So when it comes in, and I have a thing right here, right? Here it is. Right here. That's what it's all about, is attitude. So when I teach my guys, this is literally written on my doors. When you walk in through the office, this better be in check, right? So if you're having a bad day, we want to check on you. We do like the people analyzer from, what is that from? It's basically Traction, EOS stuff. But anyway, the people analyzer checks everybody. So each employee, it's anonymous, and we rate everybody in the company. So if somebody's having a bad day, I want to like check in on them, right? Like, what's going on, man? You know what I mean? Like, how can I help you? Those kinds of things. But there's culture stuff there that we try to build in as well.
So I won't get too deep into this. I do want to touch on this because it's relevant. And the people who follow my content, listen to my podcasts, they'll come back and they'll be like, bro, Kelfus, you bring up these questions that I wanted to ask, but maybe didn't know how or something. So I believe that a reflection of your professional life can be a reflection of your personal life. And like I
Mhm.
said, I don't want to go too deep into the content, but I do want to touch on some of us have toxic personal lives or toxic family members or relatives or just crazy stuff going on that we're dealing with maybe during work, after work, and now we got to run this business. And then some people are afraid to grow their business because they're like, I can barely handle my 2, 3, 4 employees and the family and this stuff going on. It's going to fall apart, or I'm going to make promises and break them. So that's the line between part of my brain. I make this joke to myself that somebody that can grow a huge business, there must be a part of the brain that can compartmentalize this stuff and almost be like a sociopath to completely shut that off and now do this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, can you talk about that for a minute?
Yeah, man, it's called alter ego. You know what I mean? Like you do. And with sales, you do. When you get in, I don't care what's going on in your head, what's going on personally, if you need to make this sale or not, if you go into that, they're going to see right through you. They're like your 2-year-old kid. I don't care what you're going on, they're going to see what the heck is going on. They know, and they're going to push all your buttons, right? So, yes, you do have to, things happen all the time. But why is it, is it fair for your customer that has no idea what's going on, but paid for your service to deal with
Fair.
all that stuff?
That's the best thing. I want to stop you right there. I had this epiphany.
Mhm.
We've all been through ups and downs, and I had a chip on my shoulder for a little bit. I was pissed off in my business. And although I was nice to my customers, I didn't
Mhm.
go out of my way. I was a little too what's the word? Rigid.
Mm.
And then I thought about this. I'm like, just because I'm going through shit, it's not fair to my customers. It's not fair to my friends or family member, to my wife or anybody for me to like, I can still practice being nice and communicating. And maybe I have a friend that I can call up and vent that shit out or talk with or something like, but it's not fair. It's not fair to them. And so, and I was able to cross that boundary because I had a moral dilemma. I'm like, yeah, but I'm really feeling this way. Like, how am I supposed to go and completely smile to these people and act like nothing's wrong? They're going to be able to see
Yeah.
through it. And then I'm a liar. Then I'm a liar. And it was like this thing that I went through. And when I got through it by saying, wait a second, I can be going through something and be stressed out, but still be incredibly nice to a customer because I care about them,
Yeah.
because it's a higher moral law. It's like it's a higher level that you ascend through. I won't get too deep into that shit, but
Yeah.
you can navigate through these situations. But how do you do that and transfer that feeling to other people when you have teams of people working? How do you
Yeah. So,
communicate, transfer that?
yeah, I'm a firm believer, man. Like, you pour into others. Like, even though you have it, you give the shirt off your back, right? Like, if
Mhm.
you're still struggling and you got things going on, like, it's tough because you're going through it. You feel like all alone, right? And you're like, why? And then sometimes I feel like because you're going through it all alone, you want to take that out on somebody and bring them into your circle and feel like they're a part of it too. But I think if you pour into others and you see the good and make them smile, like that's going to fill your cup more than anything will, right? Like, what's filling your cup? And this goes back to entrepreneurs as a whole. You need to have an accountability circle around you and have mentors and coaches pouring into your cup, because if you're pouring your cup into your team and nobody's filling your cup up, you're going to run out. And then there's going to be that breaking moment where you're literally, and I've been there, don't get me wrong, I've been there multiple times. Like, I'm in a ball hyperventilating because it's all on me, but it's not. Pull your team in, right? They care too. And so when we started leveling up our team and I started breaking through my paradigms that I had, like, I was afraid of money. Look, I grew up with nothing, and my dad was never in the picture. My mom was living off $120 a month, and we lived in the largest trailer park in New York. I was afraid to start making money because then I didn't want people to look at me different, like, oh, money's changed you, or this. No, I think money is a reflection of your heart, right? Because now that we're actually making money and making an EBITDA, right? Like, we can pour into our community more than we ever had before. And I used to do houses for free, and I used to go wash things for free, thinking I was really making an impact because I was washing that house for free. Well, now that we charge, I can go to feed the poor. I can go give school books and pencils and all these things now at events, way more than I could when I was just washing a couple houses for free. Now, don't get me wrong. Washing houses for free is great. And we still do that for people in need once a month. But now that we're making money, net profit or an EBITDA, right? Now I can start doing bigger things in the community, like really big. And it's awesome to see that. Yeah.
Bro, wait, you just answered it on a higher level. So at some point or regularly, you must have gotten crystal clear about what your faith, your mission, your vision is, because it's that faith and that clarity that pulls you through and gives you the reason to not get hung up in your own problems or anxieties or bullshit. Like you can lead, you've learned how to lead yourself because you have clarity.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of things too
How'd
is
you get the clarity?
you really don't have it that bad. Right? Like there's people that are going through way more shit than you are right now. And you know what I mean? Like we gotta just pour into people. And that's what it's all about. Like I tell my team all the time, we're here because of our customers, right? So we got to serve them on a high level and we got to keep getting customers and keep the ones we have. So how are we going to do that at a high level?
I was going to say like, well, okay. No, I had a.
So we're still on the packages. We're
Thanks,
still like
man.
We got a little bit off track, but so let's roll back to, we're not even done with the quote yet, right? So we get our packages and then we go back to the door, right? And then so the customer comes to the door. She's like, great. And I'm like, oh, do you got the company portfolio? She's like, yeah, it's inside. All right, let's go inside. And so you kind of ask to go inside and you want to go inside. You know, if you're doing proposals out, you know, on the front deck and stuff like that, how can you get inside where the decisions happen, right? Decisions happen at the kitchen table. They write their checks.
That's so crazy. I don't go inside of my customer's house until it goes north of 10 grand. And I'm like, I don't even want to. I don't want to get stuck at their kitchen table.
Yeah.
And you're saying you want to get in there and close the deal.
We do. And the reason being is when you go inside, I just had a guy that went to Sales Boost and he said, dude, I was in the house for 3 hours, walked away with like a $5,800 check. They paid him before he even did the work because he built the rapport. He followed the system, right? And so when you're doing those things, your average ticket is going to go through the roof.
I just imagine him at the kitchen table and he's got the cat on him and shit. And he's left covered in fur, ate way too many cookies. It's all pissed off.
Hey, that's a good point, though. Never tell somebody you don't want the water. There's science behind it. You ever get inside? She's like, would you like a water, Keith? You're like, no, I'm good. I just had some. Don't ever do that. Say yes. Say yes.
I always say no, man.
Say yes.
You know why? Because we had this amazing customer. Different customers have different nicknames. Regular clients, and they called her Gatorade Lady. Man, this lady would bring out cold Gatorade. She set a little table up outside, and she cut avocados and snacks for us. I got snacks for you. We're doing this huge landscape job, and every time we come back, and I felt bad because like it's okay to say yes to one Gatorade, but then the second time you say no because then you're just drinking all their Gatorades. It was like. But we're talking about just the water here. Are you talking about Robert Cialdini's influence, persuasion, and persuasion? That if somebody does something for you, then something psychologically happens unconsciously where now they feel like they want to reciprocate even more.
Yes, that's exactly right. It's down to a science, right? So you want to make sure that you're asking, the right questions and you're also doing the right thing. That's in our 19 points to a sale, right? Accept the water, accept the cookies. Whatever it may be. And so when you're doing that, you're getting inside, right? And then you're basically going back over the company portfolio. Keith, were you able to go through the company portfolio? You got it right there?
Yes.
Awesome. Good deal. Were you able to call those people from BMW?
No.
I didn't think so. Which one did you seem like that you liked the best? Because you have the pictures right here. Which one would you like to?
B.
Okay, great. Well, let me get him on the phone real quick. So B, that was George. Let me get George on the phone. And you call George for them because they're not going to call. You call, hey, George, I'm here with a customer. They actually work at BMW as well. I know we cleaned your house like a month ago. Could you tell her a little bit about, the service and the quality that we had? Oh, yeah, sure, Pat. Okay, here she is. It's Mrs. George. Here you go, bam. Yeah, it's already closed, right? So like, all right, great. So they get off the phone. You're like, all right, so just real quick, I just want to let you know, we've been in business for 17 years. How familiar, Keith, are you with our 4-step process?
Sorry. Oh, sorry. This is insane. I'm just imagining. Remember the old Amway guys with the blue suit, white shirt, red tie? And they'd come in the house and set up in a board and easel and start showing you the plan to get you to buy into the.
No, dude, I don't remember that.
Okay, so I did all that shit. I was in network marketing companies, and at 18, bro, I was 18, 19, 20, 21. I was going in people's living rooms and setting up, and they were like, please, I don't want, no, you got to see this plan. And like, anyways, it got over my fears but I'm laughing because
we'll do it.
You literally do all this stuff?
Yeah. Yep.
Fuck.
Yeah, man. Yeah, one quote needs to take no less than 1 hour. Minimum. 1 hour.
I just got one of my close friends who does tree work. I mean, stack them high, let them fly. He'll have 28 quotes in a day. I'm like, that's not even possible. I can't even do it. Like, he goes, what do you mean? He shows up, mailbox, and he puts them all in the mailbox. And then they contact all the customers.
So much money on the table.
But he has such a huge reputation on Facebook and that people already, they could just look it up and they know who he is. And I don't know what his close rate is or how mathematic it is.
Yeah.
But see, so you're saying, so a lot of customers, you get stuck for an extra 25 minutes with them telling you all these stories and talking. I've just have been burned so many times. I'm being honest here, where I've spent so much time with so many customers as the sales guy in my business, and then not even get hired anyways, to the point where and doing everything within my power. Dude, I've read hundreds of books. I'm obsessed with sales and selling. And sometimes at the end of the day, if it just comes down to the pricer, it's not going to work. So you guys must be obsessed with this.
We are. We qualify the lead before we even show up. We let them know that it's going to be 45 minutes an hour. And then we want to tell them why we're different, right?
Are you giving them some type of ballpark price that they can somehow get a frame in their head?
No.
Because if they think it's going to be $800 and you guys are $1,600.
Yeah, they're going to be like, no, I wanted it done for $350 and it's $6,000. I closed one the other day. I did a Facebook Live and it was like $5,500 that she got a quote for $450 to do pretty much the same stuff for my $5,500.
So, I mean, you're doing this. It's working. You're scaling a huge business. You've got it dialed in. So that means that there's a preconceived notion in my head that's an error. That's wrong. There's something that I'm believing and I've reinforced through some emotion or frustration that says, how in the hell are you spending this much time with these customers and still closing all these jobs?
Yeah. And
I love it.
You're right, though. Like in the beginning I was talking to them a lot. So there is a framework for it for sure, because you can get off and you can talk to them about their puppies and then, all they sell their stuff and then they don't buy at the end. So I would definitely want to look at the process. Right. But with ours, it was like, okay, we weren't winning in the beginning. How can we win? Right. And we would track the numbers, the close ratio. Like we're at a 67% close ratio. Right. And we're working towards getting that up. But you don't want to be above a 75, because if you're above a 75% closing ratio, guess what? You got to raise your prices.
Boom.
So we figured out where we want it to be.
It's not only what you're saying, but it's what you're not saying that you're sub-communicating, is that you are 100% committed to this process.
Yeah.
Because when you're committed to something, there is no, yeah, but.
That's true. Yep.
Enough said. What people are asking in these comments. I want to get some of these comments. I like to keep these under an hour, man. This is amazing. And I like my guests to read the comments. So I'll fly through the quick ones, quick little shout out. And then there's some really good comments. So if you want your comment answered, here we go. Read it. Say it aloud so people that can't see the video that are listening.
Wowzers mates, present. I like your video at Detroit Sponge.
From David Borders.
David. Oh, and then Vicky. Okay. From Coast Mesa, California.
Costa Mesa.
Oh, Coast Mesa. We use we use it all the time. Will it work on siding?
Gutter butter.
Oh, gutter butter, yes. Yes, it will.
Scott Pippen, gutter butter.
Yeah. Pat, nice.
What's up, Pat?
Nice. What can you do if you do it or if you don't do on-site quotes? So I recommend doing on-site quotes. Like Keith was saying, if you have 26 quotes and you're in a lot of area, you can do some of them over the phone, but try to do most of them in person. If you're doing them over the phone, you can have a call script. And so we don't do a quote unless they're home, period. Because we know we're not going to get our 1,400 average ticket, right? So we found if you go and they're not home, I can close them over the phone, but my sales team, it's harder for them to close over the phone. And so we even did scripts and stuff like that. So it's harder to do it over the phone. They want to always talk about price. And so again, doing those 3 packages maybe over the phone would help.
And Vicky Wowzer says 97% of my quotes are done without being present. For house cleaning, window cleaning, and pressure washing, we use Google Earth if we need to see a property.
Nice. Yeah. So I would say you're leaving money on the table for sure. Just because Google Earth isn't going to show you everything and you can go out there, we always measure everything because the neighbors watch. Another thing we do, Vicky, is every quote we do, my territory manager walks next door and he has to get another quote. We replicate it. Our average marketing budget is like 8.6% because we do this. And you got to be in a wrap vehicle. And we network on the way in, the way out. There's a whole process. There's a marketing. We call it Goya marketing on the way in. Get off your ass marketing. That will do in conjunction with the sale.
Quick for some clarity, if some of you guys watching get triggered, like how the hell is he doing all this? Again, you've got sales guys where that's their whole job is to sell stuff all day.
Correct. Right? They only do 5 quotes in a day. That's it, max.
Okay. And they're also not doing the production. They're not working in the office. They're not managing payroll. They're not doing all the other things that as a stage 1 business or a chuck and a trucker, if you're pulling your hair out and you've got to get back to the job, so you got to do the materials and the phone's ringing the whole time and you got all the shit going on.
Yeah.
So, but what I also want to draw clarity and distinction from and to is if you apply a percentage of what Pat's talking about and you absorb it into your consciousness, and it'll automatically, if you start, it'll move you upstream. It's like better some than none at all. And then one day you can get to that point. Like where's Sales Boost? When's the next one? Where was the last one? How much does it cost? People are asking about this.
Yeah, so we do it once a year. It's once a year. We did it at the Spartanburg Marriott. It's $1,297. So $1,297. Another little thing you want to do, guys, when you're presenting your price, never say $1,297. Seems really high, doesn't it? It's $1,297. For only $1,297, you get 3 days. 1 day is on site. We go out in the field. We took 56. We had 2 56 passenger buses. Unfortunately, this year, the second one didn't show up. So that was a whole thing. But we go out on site and we do the quotes. So we show you how to do the quotes, how to measure them, how to do them. And then day 3 is
real customers' houses.
Yeah. Yeah. So
if I was getting a quote at my house and 2 buses showed up, 2 buses, and a bunch of people came out, and if my ass was there, I'd be videotaping.
That's right. Yeah, so we do tell everybody not to videotape. We don't tell the customers that we're really coming out. We just tell them, hey, we have our branches from all over. We're doing a little training camp. Is it okay if we have a couple people come out? And then we show up with 56. We do break them up into groups. Yeah. It's crazy.
Dude.
Sign them up right there. Sign them up. Show you how to close them right then and there.
All right, I'll go through some of these. YMG Landscaping LLC. Hello there from Pennsylvania. What up, Doe? That's my thing. What up, Doe? Scott Pippen says this is amazing info. It is. Jake Kane says, Kelfus, you're the man. I have work for my company since I was 12 years old. I'm 22 and I mow 10 lawns on Sunday and work 6 days a week, 65 hours for the week. That's awesome, bro. I love it. And thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for subscribing. Daniel Tuff. How much for the program? $12.97 for Sales Boost, right?
Yeah.
PatClark.com.
Yep.
I wasn't planning on pitching any of your stuff, but it's so good. People are already asking how much for the program. Michael says it's better to hire someone who knows nothing with a good attitude and willing to learn than the guy that can't be told anything.
Yeah, and they can learn your system. So it's tough because your first sales guy, I call them territory managers because we give them a protected territory. And so I'm tossed up on that. You don't want somebody that wants $100,000 and put them in a $50,000 territory. Everybody has a number in between their eyes, right? What they want to make. You have to find out what that number is in between their eyes and put them in a territory that they're willing to work in. And so we've actually changed our territories over the years to fit that territory manager, or TSM, right? Territory sales manager. And so I've hired guys that know nothing, right? That follow the system and do really well. But I've also hired people that don't know anything, and unfortunately they didn't work out, right? So you want to find somebody that is in that sales, that's local, that has a million stories, knows the area really well, and knows a lot of people. Because when you hire them, hey, by the way, I want you to go and quote 6 of your friends' houses. Because what does that do? It pays for your training. So they're going to go quote 6 of their houses. We already know on average, nationwide is 50% close ratio. They just closed 3 jobs. And it gets their wheel turning. So there's a whole science behind the thing, in training and stuff.
It sounds to me the role that you play in your business is it like, what's your favorite role? What do you specialize in?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it's sales.
I knew you were going to say that. I just wanted to. Yeah. So what about the visionary integrator relationship like Gino Wickman talks in the book Traction, Rocket Fuel, and Get a Grip? Where do you play into that?
Yeah, so I'm definitely the visionary, right? I'm growing the locations. I'm out of the day-to-day. I'm growing more locations, and I do commercial sales. So I actually just last week closed 380,000.
That's a lot. Good for you, bro. I love it. Okay, let's say Kurt Bryant says, my wife tells me I have a mental box system that everything files into. When I am not busy, I go through the boxes and sort them out and deal with the stuff. It helps me to separate my issues from my business issues.
Nice. So Kurt's probably a high C on the disc profile.
Yeah.
Kurt's a C.
What's that?
Calculated. So if you look at disc, right, you want to know, and this plays into sales. There's D, which is somebody that just gets it done. They're like, I don't care the price, let's get it done. And I, which I'm an IS. So an I is somebody who wants to talk about themselves, right? They're like the party guy. That's an I. So if you get there, he's like, dude, talking about his car, and the customers all, talking about him. You want to talk about him. So that's an I. And then you have an S and a C. And the S is somebody like, if you're walking through the mall and you're like, hey, would you like to try out this thing? And they're like, oh, yeah, I'll come right back. They're not coming back. They're sensitive. They don't want to hurt your feelings. They're like, ooh, that sounds really good, Keith. I like how you're going to do the hedges. I'm going to talk to my husband tonight. We're going to give you a call. We're definitely going to get it done. And you're like, why the heck didn't I close that freaking job? She said she was going to close. She's an S. She didn't want to tell you. You forgot to put the breath mint in. You didn't quote the thing that she really wanted in the backyard, right? That's an S. And then you have your C people who are, I want to know exactly which folder this goes into, and I want to know exactly how you're going to do it, where your truck's going to park, like how much is it going to be? Can I make payments? That's a C. And you need to know who these people are when you're selling to them, because if you sell a C and he's a D, he's like, get the heck out of here. I just want the price and get it done. You talk yourself out of the sale.
Bro, this has never happened before. Last summer, I gave hundreds and hundreds of quotes. This one quote was this lady. It was like, I read about $5,000. And she said, yes, 100%. Let's do it. Wants to do it. She just got to talk to her husband, get right back with me. And I'm like, I got the quote sent over, made a couple adjustments. We're going to do it 2 weeks from now on a Tuesday. And we got a whole bunch of other jobs going on. But I didn't get the signature back. So I emailed, hey, what's going on? Just make sure everything. Ghosted. Nothing. I wait another 24 hours. I follow up again. I'm like, what the hell's going on? Or maybe something happened. I wait till Monday. Nothing. So I give it 3 more days. I follow up again. Now I'm like, I feel, what the hell? Did I do something wrong? Like, and then it's totally just ghosted. And then you just clarified it. Some people just they don't even want to deal with it. They're afraid to tell you no.
That's right.
And it's so like, if I have, so this is a disc profile analysis, right?
Correct.
I've
And
never
we know
thought
how
of
to-
taking this
we know how to
for
follow
analyzing customers.
Yes. And we know how to follow up on an S. And there's a certain way to follow up on an S. And you can't be too blunt, or else you're ghosted. You're gone.
Because I got this other customer is calling every day wanting an update about what it's going to be and with the quote and what type of shrubs are we going to use. Are you sure we can get it from here? And I'm like, Jesus, I don't even know. But the job's like $6,500. And I'm like, and then they want to know every single detail. And so who would I be dealing with then?
Yeah, is a C.
Is a
They're
C. Calculated.
Now, I don't have my wallet on me, but I literally have a disc card in my wallet. My wife is a C. She wants to know how we're going to do it. She wants to know all the details. I'm not a C. I'm an I. I'm just like.
So an I again is what?
What's that?
What's I?
I is like, shoot, you're going to have to look it up. I don't know the exact thing for I, but they're outgoing. They're like the life of the party. Like that's an I. Inspirational, you have a lot of I in you too, but you also have C in you. You're probably like an ICS is what
I'm the overthinker, overanalyzer.
Yeah, but you're still an I because you get out there and you're inspirational. You know what I mean? So, but what I'm getting to is you need to know those people, and then you need to have checklists for a C person. You need to have a checklist for an S person. So if they're a C person, hey guys, in my CRM, I'm marking down they're a C person. So now as my staff know. Okay, great. We're going to send out an email on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We're going to give her updates throughout. And she's already updated. Guess what? Her happiness level is going up. And she's going to pay you double. She's going to pay you double because she's more difficult. Yep. So we would create lists for those type of people. So if we know she's a C, she wants to know what shrubs, where we're going to get them from. Your office is updating them. Bam, bam. And by the way, before everything happens, she's getting a bullet point list of what's been done, what's about to be done. Bam, bam, bam. Yes, sir.
Dude, that's straight up gold. So like you lean into it and serve them at a higher level.
And guess what? You got a customer for life, and she's going to pay you more next time.
So I was just like, I'm just narrowing my shit and just dealing with it's all about serving customers at a high level. Okay. So, Brett Jones, what's up, landscaping fam? Big shout out from Texas.
Nice.
Love watching your videos. Thank you so much. Scott Pippen says Team of Destiny, LOL. That's exactly the marketing company I was in. It was called Team of Destiny, bro. Nice. I had real cassette motivational tapes. I still got some. I saved them.
I do too.
What's up, Scott Jennings? Shout out. A couple more, and we're about to end this. Kurt Bryant.
Nice.
PB's Lawn Care. Danny Haddad. Awesome. All right, we're going to wrap this up. Everybody, where can you, Patrick Clark, where can everybody find you again?
Yes, sir. So Facebook, and then patclark.com to look at my, different resources and stuff. Instagram, just look up The Real Pat Clark. I'm on there, but all the social media, LinkedIn, I'm there. So reach out. And if you guys have any more questions, love to chat, man.
I love it. Patrick Clark, Sales Boost. PatClark.com. Check out his live events. They sell out. If you want to go and, dude, it'll change your whole game. Just real quick, thanks for hanging out and listening and joining us on the Untrapped podcast. If for those of you, sorry, I'm so amped up right now that I literally have to slow down so I can talk. After this, we're having on Dan Plata. We've had Paul Jameson on. You can go back and listen to the older episodes. Aaron Parker. We've had David Carroll on. We've had Corey Ballard. We just had Joshua Latimer on. We had Tommy Mello last week. And
I'm just saying, this might have been your best one, though. Just saying.
Well, there. the amount of knowledge that you dropped, it was literally the most amount of golden nuggets in a row that we've had on this show so far.
That's what we do. That's what
I'm
we
going to
do.
promote the hell out of the show. We might even write a 2,500 word blog article and email it to our list of 15,000 people from this show. So thank you.
Go. And I'm going to be out there, dude. I'm going to be coming and do a sales boost on site at your thing. We got to video it, and I'll go do sales for you. Never sold landscaping ever, but we're going to sell a ton of it.
You're going to be selling shit we don't even know how to do. Bro, I just sold a $100,000 luxury outdoor living space with a patio, the waterfall. Now I'm going to have to go subcontract somebody.
We'll get the underdecking done. We're doing it all. I mean,
All right. Thanks so much. Later, guys.